Welcome to the Tesla Model X. This is, without a doubt, the most advanced SUV on the road today. It's a glimpse into the future of motoring, a technology showcase, and a performance powerhouse. It's faster to 60 than a Ferrari Enzo, yet smart enough to drive itself. It's a pretty incredible car, but it's not a perfect one. To explain the Model X, we need to go back a few years to the Model S. That car's simple, clean, and handsome lines hid an entirely new architecture. An all-new electric platform that would not only serve as the foundation for that car, but ultimately for the entire company. Model S had its battery built into the floor, electric motors nestled in the front and back between the wheels, and a respectable-looking cabin sitting on top. That car, Tesla's first production car, had no right to be any good at all. But it was. It was a fantastic car, and it still is. That the Model X inherits much of that architecture means this new SUV is off to a very good start. So it's the same basic platform, battery pack situated down low in the car, either 75 or 90 kilowatt hours. And since all Model X SUVs have all-wheel drive, they've got both a motor in the front and the rear, giving you a combined 762 horsepower in this P90D here. That's enough to get this car from 0 to 60 in just 3.2 seconds. That is if you spend the extra $10,000 for ludicrous mode. But even if you don't, it'll still get to 60 in 3.8 seconds, which is faster than a Bentley Bentayga and just about any other SUV on the road. Sitting on top is a shape that's familiar and clearly based on the Model S, but obviously a little bit taller and, in my opinion, a little less attractive. Okay, it's far from ugly, but the Model S is already a little bulbous in certain areas, and the Model X, well, just makes that worse. But it does have one signature design element that's unlike any other car on the road today. If you're wondering why the Model X isn't perfect, here's your answer. It's said that Musk personally required the Falcon Wing doors despite the insistence of many engineers that they would never work. Well, they do work, but slowly. Dropping your kids off at school in this will surely increase their cool factor by a huge margin, but you'll also risk increasing their tardiness factor by a similar amount. Or if you're in the habit of tossing a briefcase or jacket on the back seat of your car before driving away, owning a Model X will break that habit pretty quickly. Those soaring doors do make an incredible statement, but I shudder to think about the complex mechanicals required to achieve such a feat, and as you can see, getting out of the car in a garage can be a bit of a challenge to do gracefully, or indeed at all. Once the doors have finally closed, there's no key to turn or ignition button to press. You just put the car in D and away you go. And pulling away in the Model X is unlike just about any other car on the road, partly thanks to the visibility. You've got this huge windscreen that extends up over your head, and that, plus the elevated seating position and the complete lack of noise, means that driving this thing feels a lot like you're flying down the road. That's helped by the performance of the thing too. You can go any speed you want, at any time you want, just with the slightest adjustment of your right foot. The throttle response is instantaneous. It's unlike any other car on the road, except for the Model S, of course. And the Model X handles really well too. Of course, you've got all that weight down low from the battery pack built in the floor, and that definitely helps, but the suspension is very well tuned. It handles quite nicely over bumps. It's very smooth and quiet on smooth roads, but it does handle the twisties pretty well. It's a car that you can definitely have some fun in, or you can lay back and relax a little bit and just enjoy the ride. In terms of interior technology, it's largely the same story here as in the Model S, including the 17-inch vertically oriented display that can act as a giant navigation system or be split with a lot of other features. Sadly, neither Android Auto nor CarPlay are on offer here. That's not the biggest piece of technology in the car. That is a feature that Tesla calls Autopilot. With 2 pulls of the cruise control stalk, the car takes over. It'll speed up, it'll slow down, it'll adjust for traffic, and it's actually really good. It's so good that you can actually take your hands off the wheel and the car will drive itself, but you really shouldn't do that. This is not a fully autonomous car, and it's not smart enough to handle every situation that you will see out on the road. It'll take care of itself by and large, and that does make the driving experience a lot more relaxing, especially if you're stuck in traffic, but you still do need to pay attention just in case something unexpected happens. Autopilot even works when you're outside of the car. You can get out and let the car pull itself into a garage or parking space, or summon it to come back out again. It'll even open and close the doors automatically. It's a neat trick, but I have to wonder who would rather stand out in the rain and wait instead of just going into the garage. To me, modern luxury isn't about things like unicorn hide interiors or headlight reflectors hewn from crystal. It's more about increasing convenience and decreasing stress, and that the Model X will come to you on command or drive itself down the road. Those things do a lot to make this, in some ways, the ultimate luxury car. And though the interior isn't quite as nice as you'd get from a Mercedes-Benz or BMW, that stunning windshield and glass ceiling means you can spend more time looking at the world around you, rather than staring at headliners and bits of trim. But the Model X is not without its problems, and chief among them are those two gull-wing doors. Yes, they do make a hell of a first impression, but they're more of an annoyance than anything, and down the road, I think they're going to be a liability. You know how in the 90s we'd see sports cars driving around with one pop-up headlight stuck so they were winking at you all the time? I think in the 20s we're going to see a lot of Model X's with broken wings driving around. And for that reason, and for a couple of other things, I think that this probably isn't a day-to-day driver for everybody, but as a modern showcase of all the technology that the automotive industry has to offer right now, the Model X is one hell of an achievement.